Hi girlies! Welcome back to my channel. Today I have a very special unboxing for my long-awaited purchase from Van Cleef. If you've been following my channel for a while, you know that I put a particularly large amount of thought into purchasing this piece, and so I'm so excited to unbox with you and share with you why I chose it, some mod shots, and my overall general impressions and wear and tear of this product. So I'll first start with all the little things that come with the purchase, and then we'll go to the actual unboxing. So of course, number one thing, you always get these little chocolates when you shop at Van Cleef along with your coffee or water or whatever you're drinking along that day. I always like to bring these home. I can't eat half of these because half of these have nuts, but I always pick out like the ganache ones and then I pass on the rest to my boyfriend. And then of course the receipt as well as your authenticity card. And then the last couple of tidbits that pretty much give away what this is a polishing cloth from Van Cleef as well as the travel case that this comes with. And now moving on to the actual product reveal. I'm sure from the size of this you kind of know which piece it is, but I think what I chose might surprise some of you, so let's get right into it. So here she is. My boutique, which is the SF boutique, still gives hard packaging for all your purchases as well as a travel case in addition. I know that some boutiques have 100% switched to the soft packaging, I think, but I do think that sometimes upon request you can get both if your boutique doesn't offer it firsthand. But without any further ado, let us open her up. I ended up choosing the 5 motif in the alternating rose gold guilloche as well as carnelian stone. And it is absolutely stunning. Like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, I was heavily deciding between a couple of different options, so I definitely want to get into the story time of why I ended up choosing this particular piece, as well as some close-ups and detailed review of this item. But before we do, I wanted to show you some beautiful mod shots with my sponsor of today's video, which is Lily Silk. Lily Silk is a long-standing brand that specializes in silk clothing. They place a special emphasis on sustainability, going to great lengths to emit zero waste, and promote classic silhouettes that are bound to stay in your wardrobe for years to come. They source their silk from mulberry trees, which require less water than cotton trees to grow, as well as use only natural fibers to discourage fossil use typically seen in the fast fashion industry. Lily Silk doesn't just stop at clothing though, they also have a beautiful line of cashmere and home goods and even have producing a special line of silks called Lily Area targeted at those with particularly sensitive skin. I did want to mention that because recently I did switch over all my pillowcases to silk pillowcases because I was having a little bit of trouble on my skin, and as soon as I did that, everything on my skin cleared up, and so I would heavily recommend checking out any of their silk bedding as well. This v-neck ribbed silk top that I'm wearing here is also from Lily Silk. It is so luxurious, it's so smooth and comfortable on the skin. I honestly would have never expected this to be a silk material, but it is 100% machine washable silk. It has a flattering slim silhouette as well as this beautiful contrasting collar with buttons. I really like that they added this contrast at the sleeves as well as the collar because I think it just makes the shirt pop even more. I chose this particular piece because it will be perfect for the spring and summer. It is really cooling and lightweight, and it has a little bit of detailing in the ribbed knit such that air can pass through and cool your body really nicely. And I also chose this piece for the versatility. I think this can be worn in so many different occasions. I can obviously wear this into the workplace, I can wear it for a casual day out with friends, and I can also wear it for a pastime hobby of mine, which is golf. I think this would be such a cute golf or tennis outfit that you can easily incorporate. And again, because it's so lightweight and cooling, I think it would be the perfect addition to any lightweight sports activity. Of course, I think it would match so perfectly with my new 5 motif, so let's put her on. Here she is on. My carnelian is slightly darker in tone, so I think it matches so well with the darker color fabrics like navies and blacks. I think that this top from Lily Silk is so elegant and versatile, and again, complements my new 5 motif so beautifully. The next piece I wanted to share with you all is this beautiful one-shoulder evening water shine silk top. Again, 100% silk, and isn't this champagne bronze color so absolutely elegant? I chose this piece in particular because I've been drawing a little bit of inspiration from some K-dramas I've been watching. So for example, I have been watching Queen of Tears recently, which the protagonist is this beautiful, young, rich female heiress, and in Korea, these kind of tops are so popular. These lovely flowing silk tops with these beautiful silk accents. It just makes you look so put together, so elegant, and again, with the one-shoulder design, perfect for summer. I also do feel like my wardrobe is a little lacking in the party department, so having some pieces that are more elegant and upscale to wear to a more formal occasion or event, and particularly at my age, I feel like a lot of my friends are getting married, so I think that this would be the perfect top to wear to a wedding or just any nice special occasion. This kind of neck wraparound feature can be worn and styled in a lot of different ways. Typically, I will just kind of wrap it around my neck because I think that that looks the most elegant, and it does really kind of like slim the neckline. But you can put it into a bow or accessorize it any way you want. It is fully attached, however, to the one shoulder design. Again, I think this top is so flattering, can be worn with pants, can be worn with a skirt, really can be so versatile versatile in your wardrobe. And once again, I think that the champagne color matches so beautifully with my new 5 motif. The last item that Lily Silk was kind enough to gift me are these high-waisted, wide-leg, dense silk pants, and oh my gosh, are they beautiful. So this is actually the very first pair of pants that I own that are in silk, and oh my god, when I put them on, they were so luxurious, so soft on the skin, and this beautiful gray lustrous shine. You can just see how much it reflects the light. Is so beautiful. I think that all the design features of these pants were really well thought out, so I do love that it has a slightly thicker waistband because I think that it just provides a little bit more structure at the waist. It of course has belt loops, so you can accessorize it in a lot of different ways. It has 2 pockets in the front. It also has kind of this double pleating design here for a bit more of a streamlined silhouette. And then lastly, we do have a singular back pocket, which I think is so elegant. But once again, I think the most attractive thing about these pants are the color and the shine of this silk. I just can't get over how much it catches the light. And I think that this gray pearlescent color, again, is so cooling for the summer and is so easy to match with anything else in my wardrobe. Because of the wide leg fit, I think that these can definitely be a bit more of a casual pant, but because of the silk material, I think it can be easily dressed up as well, and I think it goes so well with the previous one shoulder top that I just showed you. And once again, I'm so happy to report that my 5 motif is complemented so well by these beautiful pants. There's just a couple of things I want to note about Lily Silk products that involve their care and their sizing. So because these are silk clothing pieces, you do need to care for them appropriately. So what I do is that as soon as I received the items, I hung them up and steamed them so that they would release all of their wrinkles, and I kept them in a dry place such that they would stay and keep their beautiful appearance. And additionally for sizing, I am 5'7" and I weigh about 114 pounds, and I chose the small for the tops as well as a 4 for the pants. I will say that the clothing items are a little bit big, so I am going to tailor them. So I would actually recommend going a size down for most of their pieces, but that could just be my personal experience. I would double check the sizing chart as well as reach out to Lily Silk if you have any other additional questions. But again, I am so happy with all the pieces that they sent over. I think they're so beautiful and versatile, and they were kind enough to send me a discount code, which is SOMIN20 if you want to take 20% off your purchase. All the links and information will be down in the description. I would highly recommend you check out Lily Silk. So let's continue on to the story time of why I ended up choosing the beautiful rose gold and carnelian 5 motif. So if you'd watched a couple of my previous videos, you would have known that I was actually really wanting to get a white gold bracelet. So whether or not that be the white gold chalcedony or the white gold mother of pearl 5 motif. And I wanted the white gold in particular because, as many of you know, I am going to be engaged soon, so I thought that it would be really lovely to have a matching bracelet that I could wear on my left hand such that it would match the white gold band that I am going to be receiving. I was originally heavily leaning towards the chalcedony bracelet because I think it's just very unique and really beautiful. I think the light blue coloring of chalcedony is just absolutely stunning. But to me, the chalcedony was extra risky to wait that long of a time because chalcedony has a lot of variation between the stones. So chalcedony is a light blue stone with these striations that run across it, and the striation patterning can be very different between the stones. They can have no striations, they can have striations that curve and go in different directions. And I think for me in particular, I'm very kind of picky about the bags that I have and the jewelry pieces that I have. So if I waited 4 to 6 months and then I got a 5 motif and I didn't particularly like all the 5 striations across the stones, then I would have been very kind of upset because it's an expensive piece and I waited that long, and then the only other option would then be to return it and then wait another additional 4 to 6 months to get another 5 motif that, again, I would have no idea if that's going to be the one that I would eventually fall in love with. So ultimately, because of that just like risky factor, I ended up deciding to not get the white gold chalcedony 5 motif. And in my head, I just said that if I ever chanced upon one in the wild, you know, as I travel or as I visit different boutiques, or even if I visit my local boutique and there just happens to be one and I like it, then I would of course immediately purchase it. But I just didn't think it was worth it to pre-order it and then just like go through all the hassle of waiting and deciding whether I liked it or not. I'd much rather just have that really magical and special moment where it happens to be there and then I would just think it's fate. So then I think the easy choice would have been the 5 motif with the white gold and mother of pearl. And I had been trying on one of my friends' 5 motifs who does have the white gold mother of pearl, and I tried it on several times, and while I do really love it, I was just unsure of how the pearl would actually look against my engagement ring. I think in my head it would be totally fine, but at the same time I think, you never really know how two pieces will complement each other until they're actually tried on together. And so, while I did really want a white gold 5 motif, and I still continue to do so, I thought that it would be better to get one after I had received my proposal so that I would have my ring and then I can go around and try a couple of different options for white gold, because I think that the 5 motif in the white gold guilloche is also really lovely, and that could very well complement my ring better than the white gold 5 motif in the mother of pearl. So again, there's a lot of different options, and because the original want was to get a bracelet to complement my ring, I think the safest way to do so that has no regrets is to get the ring first and then purchase a bracelet that will complement it. And so because of that, and because I love the guilloche so much, I did end up choosing the rose gold guilloche with the carnelian, and I absolutely love it. I am a true rose gold girly at heart. Like 90% of my jewelry is rose gold. I also have a Cartier Love bracelet that's in rose gold that I thought would complement this so well. And additionally, I thought that I should start trying to expand a little bit into the color department. So normally I like only solid gold pieces. I kind of stray away from color because in my mind, I always think that color is just a little bit more of a hassle to match with. And so I always want to get bags or jewelry pieces that I feel like I would be able to wear in any circumstance and that would require no additional thought of like how to pair colors. And so that's kind of why all my jewelry pieces and bags kind of stay on the neutral range or the all gold range. But recently I did purchase my mother a carnelian pendant from Van Cleef, and so I thought that getting this one to kind of match and keep her in mind would be absolutely perfect and lovely. One other thing to note in particular for the carnelian bracelets is the stone colors. So carnelian does come out in a slight range of reds. It's not like a huge range, but they go from like kind of a darker, more brown burgundy color all the way up to a little bit more of a reddish orange color. So you can definitely have lighter stones and you can definitely have darker stones. So for me in particular, I had to pre-order the item because it's not readily available in boutiques. So I put down my full deposit and then I waited a little bit more than a month for this particular bracelet to come into store. And when I first received it, I had actually thought that the stones were a little bit dark for my liking. I felt that they were not like a true red, and I thought that in my heart I would want it to be like a true red where you look at it and you're like, oh, that's definitely red. And generally I just thought it was a little bit dark for my taste. I was asking around, like I asked my SA, I asked my friends who had come to pick up the bracelet with me what they thought, and they all agreed that actually this shade was beautiful. It was on the darker side, which makes it a little bit more of a neutral color that's a little bit easier to pair with different types of colors. And I do agree now, kind of putting her on and seeing her in the natural lighting, I think that I do really love this particular shade of red. And while it is a little bit on the darker side, I think I like that because, like I said, it does match and pair with things a little bit better. So for example, against this navy dark top, because the stones are a little bit darker, I have no issue pairing it, even though red and blue might not necessarily be two colors that you would pair together frequently, but it's just a beautiful, dark, subtle red, and I think it matches so well with the rose gold material. I will also say that I did not want to wait another 1 to 2 months for a new bracelet to arrive, so because I didn't absolutely hate this one, and in fact I do really love it, I just went home with the bracelet and that was that. This bracelet also has been resized already. I did resize it to a size 16, so as soon as it came into the boutique and I okayed it, I just sent it off for resizing, which took about 2 weeks actually. So I picked it up this past weekend, and 2 weeks before that is when I sent it in for official resizing. One thing I do want to mention is that I wish I knew how many links they were going to be taking out for the resizing. So for resizing to a size 16, they actually took out different amounts of links between the different alhambras. So kind of closer to the clasp, they took out more links, and then kind of closer towards the middle of the bracelet here, they took out less links. So I believe between these two stones, which are right next to the clasp, they took out 3 links, but then between these two stones, they only took out 2 links. So what that causes is just kind of like an imbalance between the motifs. So if I wanted to wear the clasp on the bottom of my wrist, that causes the motifs closer to the center to be a little bit more spread out. So if I was wearing my bracelet, you can kind of see 2 motifs and that's about it. Whereas if I was wearing it with the clasp on top, you could kind of see like 3 motifs almost. And I prefer my motifs to just be a little bit closer together, so I'm a little bit regretful that I actually didn't size it down to the 15. I think if I did size it down to the 15, they would have taken 3 links out equally, whereas the 16 they took out an uneven 2 or 3 links between the motifs. So because there is you know, some wiggle room in the bracelet, I think I could have definitely sized it down to a 15 and it would have been totally fine. And then there would have been like an even spacing between the alhambras. So if that kind of thing bothers you, where the alhambras aren't equally spaced out, then I would double check with your SA before you do any resizing to see how many links will be taken out between each of the motifs so that you can choose the appropriate sizing such that it's kind of like equal throughout. I don't think I'll resize it again because I think it'll be a hassle to just take out one link between those like 3 alhambras in the middle. However, I do think that with my next purchase, I'll definitely be asking them to size down to a 15, which I do believe is the smallest size for resizing. For those of you curious to see how it looks against a love bangle from Cartier, this is what it looks like. I think this is a very popular stack to have. Again, as many of you know, I don't really love the love bangle because I feel like it's a little bit restrictive. So definitely if I had to choose between the two, I would definitely be choosing a 5 motif just because I feel like this is much more comfortable. It's really flexible and adheres to the size and shape of your wrist, whereas the Cartier love bangle is obviously a very fixed size, and I find that it indents my wrist and kind of feels constricting a little bit, so I do definitely prefer the 5 motif, but they do look lovely next to each other. And then before we get into pricing, I do want to just quickly show you guys what comes with the bracelet. So again, it comes with a travel pouch, and this is such a useful travel pouch. This is probably the travel pouch that I use the most. It looks like this. It has a little bit of a hard cushion backing, and these little strip things can be lifted up and hold your bracelet secure on each ends. But for me, I actually use these travel cases much more for my necklaces. So what I actually do is I'll put like the bottom of the necklace on this side and I'll put the top of the necklace on this side, and I can hold like 4 to 5 necklaces very comfortably. And I love using this travel case because it keeps my necklaces from getting tangled. So obviously a lot of people will use kind of like the zip pouches that have little compartments that you can put your necklaces in, and I have one of those as well. But really nothing beats putting your necklaces in a straight line against each other for travel. My necklaces never get tangled and they're just really easy to see all at once, so I can pick out what I want to wear for that day. So even if you don't have a 5 motif and you get a necklace, for example, at Van Cleef, I would ask to get the bracelet travel case instead because it can be used for so much more than a bracelet. Next up is the polishing cloth. So sometimes they will not just like voluntarily give this to you, so I would definitely recommend asking for one if one isn't placed into your bag preemptively. So it just comes like this. I think this is like a little user instruction manual, and then they come with this cute little black cloth that you can use for polishing. And I do find this really helpful because particularly for the carnelian, I haven't really noticed it with my other stones, but definitely for the carnelian, you can see your fingerprint marks on it really well. So as soon as you touch it, you can kind of see like oil stains or lines or something like that. So that does bother me because if you look closely at it, you can really clearly tell, and it kind of like focuses on the center of the carnelian stone as well. So I do like to have a polishing cloth on hand so I can quickly wipe those away whenever I do wear the piece out for the first time that day. And then lastly, the price of this 5 motif bracelet was $5,000 pre-tax, and so with the San Francisco tax added on, it came out to $5,431.25. Definitely because of the guilloche as well as like the more metal going into it, it comes out to a higher price. I do believe that the 5 motif white gold with the mother of pearl comes out to be $4,450, and so the mother of pearl comes out to be a little bit more of an affordable option. But another big reason why I didn't end up choosing the mother of pearl is just because of the wear and tear of mother of pearl. I know that the mother of pearl can dull a little bit. It's really sensitive to water, and especially if you sweat as well, I do think that it will lose its lustrous shine over time as it rubs against kind of your like wet and oily skin. And so carnelian is a very hard stone and it has a much higher durability than the mother of pearl, and of course gold has really great durability against water and other things. So ultimately I thought for the long-lasting nature of a 5 motif, for something that I wanted to wear for years and years and years to come, I definitely thought that this piece was going to be a better investment than the mother of pearl, which I think just requires a little bit more upkeep. And for those of you wondering about the wear and tear of the guilloche in general, there is no going around it. The guilloche will scratch. Gold is a relatively soft metal, and so because it is a bracelet, it's bound to kind of bang up against things, bang up against different jewelries if you like to stack your jewelry. But I do think that that is just something that comes with loving your jewelry. I find that my guilloche for my necklace has very little wear and tear just because it is a necklace, and so it doesn't really come into contact with a lot of other things. But I definitely do expect my guilloche on my 5 motif to come into some wear and tear. My essay was saying like, yes, definitely there will be scratches, but I think that the scratches will be a little bit less noticeable with just how radiant the guilloche shines. So because it catches the light and it already has so many different facets, The scratches, of course, will be visible if you like look very closely enough, but definitely the overall beauty of the guilloche will not lose its shine and luster. So that brings us to a wrap on part 2 of my birthday haul. This 5 motif was kind of the other big ticket item that I had purchased for myself on my birthday, and I think it is just a beautiful and special piece. I do have to say though, I have another very special unboxing coming up very quickly after this, so do make sure that you're subscribed so you do not miss out. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. I will definitely see you in the next one. Bye guys!